You have a full section in your book on foot fetishes.
I do. I do. Yeah. Which is funny because I don't know anything about foot
Me neither.
fetishes. Yeah.
Me
Like I
neither.
can't, I'm not kink shaming anybody, but like there's nothing sexual about feet to me at all. Like I just don't get it. I don't, but I mean, listen, if people like things, it's good, you know? But yeah, I have had clients that have odd fetishes or sexual proclivities or things they want to do, and they don't share it with their partner at all. And then they find an outlet for it because they try to go without it and that doesn't work. So they try to find some other outlet for it. And then that's interpreted as a betrayal and it creates distance and people split up. And of course, everybody likes to have like a bad guy to blame it on. So when you say, well, why'd you guys get divorced? Oh, because he secretly had a foot fetish and he was on these message boards like meeting people. But well, it gives you an easy answer as to why the two of you split up. But I don't think, most divorces have such simple answers as it was a foot thing. But I also think too, like, listen, if you got a partner, I mean, we all do stuff that we're not super into because we're in a relationship. And that's what part of it is. Like, do you really want to go see that chick flick? Do you really want to eat at this restaurant? Do you really want to go to her cousin's wedding? No. But, part of being in a relationship is, okay, if you're into this, I'm going to pretend this song's a good song, even though it's not my favorite song. And I think, I just don't know. We've turned sex. I mean, sex has been so politicized in recent years. Maybe it always was. But I think we've made it into something where we can't just, I don't know, I'm not into feet, but if the woman I love was like, I'm really into feet, like I really want to do stuff with your feet, I'd be like, all right, I can pretend that I'm into that. Like it's not going to kill me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to make it a centerpiece of our coupling, but I can pretend I'm into feet if you want.
I don't personally have any fetishes that are outside of the normal discourse.
As a divorce lawyer, I get to experience the whole spectrum.
But if I was into like furries, for example,
yeah,
I don't know how I would initiate the conversation with my partner about that.
But frame the question the other direction.
Yeah.
If you were into furries,
yeah,
how do you prevent your partner from knowing anything about that? That feels like you'd have to make a conscious choice to not let your partner know.
Sure.
So I don't think either of those is a particularly palatable or easy proposition.
But a lot of people live life hiding some part of themselves.
Yeah, quite unsuccessfully. Like the second order effects of that are very rarely positive.
Sure.
I don't think I've ever met someone who went, yeah, I really hid this huge part of myself for an extended period of time. And that's the best thing that happened. I'm really glad. I'm really glad I stayed in the closet as long as I did. It really worked out. Like it rarely does. It's a question of how long can you hold it off?
Yeah.
Like I know gay men who stayed in the closet for 40 years, 50 years of their lives. And then they had a successful second chapter as a gay man. Mm-hmm. I've had clients like that. Do they regret that they were in the closet? No, because they were married, they had kids, like they had experiences they're glad they had. But would their advice to a young person in their 20s and 30s who's gay be stay in the closet because then you can have a wife and some kids and then you can come out when you're 50 or 60 and have a second chapter? No. Yeah. They would say, be who you are. Don't be afraid,
As you were talking, I'm trying to think of, because I'm publicly and privately, I'm the exact same person, or try to be the exact same person. So I usually try to make sure there's nothing to hide. But I was trying to come up with a counter example for you for if there's good things to hide. Well, there could be like past relationships. Like if I, slept with thousands of women or something like this, maybe that you want to put that to the side when you're having
you don't want to be there's a difference between being honest about something and being indelicate about it.
Right.
Like I think we all do this with lovers. Like any of us who've been in more than one relationship, you would not, at the end of sex be like, that was the third best sex I've ever had. It's just indelicate. It's rude, So I don't think it's a matter of like total candor at all times. But I think if we're using the furry example, and I'm not picking on furries. I just think if that is a proclivity that is anything other than a passing thought, like it's something that you just keep coming back to, then you're making a conscious decision to withhold it from your partner. And what is that out of? I mean, I would say it's probably out of fear. I'm not a psychologist, but it's probably out of fear.
Mm-hmm.
Fear that they would reject you. That they, okay, well, now, see, I genuinely believe that this, you know, I'm very conflicted in my religious faith, but I don't know that I believe in the devil. Mm-hmm. But if there was a devil, I think his principal function would be to convince us that we are so bestial that God couldn't love us. It would be to convince us that we're awful and that we should just lean into the awfulness. And I know the greatest low points of my life came whenever I just went, you know what, I'm just awful. I might as well just behave awfully. And I really believe that when you push down parts of yourself, like your sexuality, like your insecurities, your true feelings from your romantic partner, the person who's supposed to be your number one, you are making sure you will never feel their love. Because they don't love you. They love the you you've presented to them, which you know in your heart is not the authentic, honest, real you. And so if you know you're super into furries and you don't tell your partner about that, and your partner says, I love you so much, and you know what I love? One of the things I love about us is we have such great sexual chemistry. You'll never feel that love because you know, yeah, that's not true though. She doesn't know. She doesn't know that actually I'm not really satisfied. And there is this thing that I want that I know I can't even tell her because I'm so ashamed of it. Like that doesn't feel like a good option to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So that kind of vulnerability is essential to intimacy.
You know, I'm prone to jujitsu metaphors, and this is one of the first conversations where I can actually use them because the person I'm talking to is a jujitsu person. But
people should know that you are a quote unquote jiu-jitsu person. You have been afflicted with the disease.
I am a brown belt under Marcelo Garcia, and I am like a 7-year brown belt now. So
which is the right way to be a brown belt.
And also I am, late middle-aged, middleweight and moderately talented. So I'm training at that academy with so many incredibly talented people, and training in New York City where there's so many unbelievably talented people. You're constantly humble and feeling like you should just be wearing a blue belt all the time. But a lot of, I think, as you know, and as most people who practice jiu-jitsu know, you start to sort of see jiu-jitsu in everything. I genuinely believe that in love, you have to give something to get something. You have to everything you do creates a vulnerability. You know, every move you make in jiu-jitsu creates opportunity and creates vulnerability. And so you have to be willing to create vulnerabilities in order to get any leverage, in order to get any progress, and any way to move the position. You know, you don't want a marriage that's just two people both in 50-50, like you're just sitting in that guard doing nothing. You want it to actually move along.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I see love and relationships is you should take that leap of vulnerability, give the other person the option to destroy you.
Well, you have to expose. And that's the part that I think is hard for everyone, is to expose yourself in that way. But that's what I mean even when I said about getting a dog or having a child. Like loving anything is tremendously courageous because it's terrifying. And it's only brave if you're scared. If you're not scared, it's not brave, it's just stupidity. It's just, it's bravery when you're afraid and you do the thing anyway. And so love is like, yeah, it's scary. Like I don't care who you are. Like being, in the jiu-jitsu community, like I'm around, as you are, like incredibly tough people, like physically tough people, mentally tough people. But, I've seen some of those people taken down by a 120-pound woman, not from a grappling perspective, but they are taken apart by a woman in their life, and vice versa. I've seen men, who like it really is shocking how much leverage we give to our romantic partners and how little genuine discussion we really have about it, how much we really are ever trained to think about it. You know, there's nothing in school that teaches us about it. So much of literature and art is an idealized version of it. So little of it is real.